Hi, my name is Daniel Thornton. I'm a senior here at Texas Tech, and I'm going to be talking to you today about drones. So, this video has been prepared to discuss the dangers of civilian drone use and how an interdisciplinary approach can be used to come up with a solution to the problem. Using my knowledge in aviation, law, and photography, I will discuss how these three disciplines will help me solve this complex problem and achieve my goal of implementing a system to track drones in the air, as well as a better system of bringing those who want to fly illegally to justice. So, when I talk about my job in aerial photography, a lot of people ask me about drones. And it is widely believed that you can just throw a drone up in the air and fly wherever you want, when it is actually farther from the truth. The FAA has passed a lot of laws in the past few years regarding drones and where they can fly. And however, it's still been a huge problem with people that just kind of disregard those laws because there's no real consequences for breaking them. And this is a real problem because besides them just breaking the law, they're putting a lot of people in danger that don't really need to be in danger. And it's not really fair for them. So using my disciplines in aviation, law, and photography, I hope to create some sort of joint effort that can help identify drones and make it at least safer for drones to operate, paving the way for businesses and other things to use them as well. And so a lot of people ask me, what's the big deal about people flying drones? You can sound pretty anti-drone, which I'm not. I'm very pro-drone. I really wish to see them implemented at some point as more commercial use. But I want to see it done safely. And so far, I'm not convinced that it's safe. When the standard weight of a drone is between half a pound and 55 pounds, that's kind of scary to think about that kind of weight flying above your head every day. So, making them safer would at least be a step in the right direction to getting that done. So let's talk about my disciplines for a second. Like I mentioned before, they were in aviation, law, and photography. And so let's start with aviation. I chose aviation because without it, there would be no drones. Without the Wright brothers, without the first airplane, without even helicopters, there would be no drones. They all work off of the same principle, built off of each other. So I thought that would be a great place to start as far as figuring out, well, how can we make drones safer? They're technically an aircraft just like everything else, but they're not treated as such. And so the FAA, my apologies, the FAA has created an app called the Before You Fly app that it's sponsored by the FAA, and it gives you your location on a map and tells you if you are in a safe area, meaning if you are within 5 miles of an airport and all these other different rules they have. It lets you know, or if you need to contact an airport to let them know that you're flying in that area, it gives you the number and contact information for all that. And my apologies, I'm trying to pull it up right now, but I just wanted to show you briefly what it looked like and how it kind of works. So I hope y'all be able to see this. But as you can see on here, the yellow dots right there indicate where an airport is or where is a no-fly zone, and the red right here indicates a airbase, that the local airbase in our city. And so as you can see, where I currently am, I'm well within the 5-mile radius of an airport right now. So I could not fly anywhere near there. And even all these other little dots down here, you can't, all the little helicopter and airplane symbols, you still have to notify them, my apologies, that you're flying near them before you can just go out and throw it up there. So it's very complicated, and they've made an effort to try and get people to understand the safety aspects of it. And there are other bits of that app too that I won't discuss. I just wanted to touch briefly on it. But they've made efforts, but there's not enough of an effort. So my second discipline was law, and law is another area where they put a lot of effort into trying to make drones safer, but it's just not working. And the reason that it's not working is because of time. You see, it takes a long time to pass laws, and as we can all tell, technology doesn't take nearly as long to develop. And so you may have a generation of drone that has a law being passed on it, and by the time that law is finally passed, that drone will be 2 generations ahead, and the law may be obsolete because the drone is no longer relevant. Now, law has made several strides. Like I said, they passed the Drone Registration Omnibus Negligence Prevention Enactment Act, that's a lot to say, of 2016, that sought to deal with the problem of some sort of registration of the drone. They required to have some sort of license plate, whether it be physical, as a chip on the drone, or physically on the side of the drone, so similar to how aircraft today are. There has also been other laws passed, such as the Consumer Drone Act, that directs the Federal Aviation Administration, the FAA, to publish a final rule containing safety requirements for the operation of consumer drones, which basically gives the FAA full reign to tell companies where and how they can fly their drones, as according to safety or whatever other reason. And these are all great starts, but these are only really tips of the iceberg. Finally, my final discipline was photography, and you may be wondering, how does photography fit into all of this? Well, with over 1.2 million drones sold in 2016, people are using them more and more for photography, solely because they're able to get angles and shots that they once never thought possible. And so this has become a problem not only in cities and with privacy and everything, which I won't get into in this thesis, but it's also a problem in the wild as well. The National Park Service Director, John Jarvis, in 2014 put a Policy Memorandum 1405 in place to address the problem of drone photographers in national parks. They were disturbing guests and harming animals that were otherwise just not, just living their lives, and that it was disturbing these animals and people to the point that they couldn't enjoy the wild as it was. And so this Policy Memorandum 14-05 prohibits launching and operating, even landing within park grounds, and comes with, of course, a hefty fine and even jail time, if depending on the offense. However, even this has its own problem, that people have found a way around this policy memorandum, because it states nothing about operating the drone outside the park and then flying it into the park. Just as long as it doesn't land or take off from inside the park, they're fine. So this loophole, even though this policy is in place for good measure, there's a loophole that is preventing it from doing its full job. And that's a big problem too, because that's dangerous for not only the people in the park that are just trying to enjoy the wildlife, but the wildlife itself. They did nothing to deserve being tormented by a drone. So why should the people that do it just get away scotch-free all the time? And that's kind of my point. So what can we really do about this? Well, like I said, the FAA created the app, the Before You Fly app, but I would like to see more done on that. Really, I would like to see excuse me, I would like to see the Before You Fly app, but I would like to also be able to follow the movements of the UAV, the drone, through a tracking chip manufactured into the drone itself, similar to how an aircraft would work. This chip would track the UAV only when the rotors of the aircraft were turning, to ensure that the tracking wouldn't occur during say, transport or, while it was in storage to avoid any unwanted paranoia of being tracked, I would say. Um, I would also like to, I would ask for testing, excuse me, to begin with the FAA, but I would also like to get a team of, quote, drone experts, people that specialize in drones, whether it's manufacturing, flying, designing, representatives from the FAA, ground control, and just businesses that are interested in incorporating drones that have their unique opinions on how they'd be used or something like that, to all come together and form their own team of, like I said, drone experts, people that know everything about these machines. And I would like to begin testing these drones, begin, maybe designing new ones that need to be incorporated. Amazon stated they wanted to use drones for package delivery, maybe designing a specialized drone for that to ensure, Amazon gets everything they need, while at the same time the drone is completely safe and legal and all that, and tested in a safe environment. And do that for all different types of drones, anything that they could possibly be used for. Some the same model may be able to use, some others may need a different design. But start incorporating these tests into the FAA's knowledge, and maybe at some point start working on the Before You Fly app itself, where you're able to track your drone and other drones' movements through the app to make sure that you're not going to harm anyone. Well, I hope this was an informative video. Like I said, this is a very complex subject, so to touch on it briefly is rather difficult to do without getting too deep into it. But I hope I explained some of the dangers of of flying your drone without taking into consideration the full safety aspect of the entire activity. Thank you very much, and y'all have a great summer.